Okay, so I have a few minutes in between appointments today, so I figured I could take this on the road, walk and talk, and enjoy this sunshine. So, and hopefully not get hit through a park. Oh God. So I was thinking this morning. I had this really great thought. I was trying to figure out like what I was going to talk about today with you guys and really focus on. And something popped up on one of my Facebook feeds. It was like a in this day type of thing. And those used to really bug me a lot because a few years ago I was going through a lot of trauma and in part of transitional trauma and just struggling with a lot of things in my life, in my career, with my family. And it was just a really dark time for me. So today that on this day thing popped up with one of those moments where I was just having just a time and I was lamenting to the world about how frustrated I was and how awful everything felt at that moment. And it's funny because when I woke up this morning, before I even read that post, this morning was the first time, and I woke up and first time in a long time, not in my life, first time in a long time, I woke up and I didn't recognize where I was. So I'm not having like a psychological moment. I knew where I was. I was in my house waking up, but it was that moment where I looked around. I'm like, I'm not going to stay here. This isn't it. Like this isn't it. I was happy to be here and I recognized it and I can see where I was now based on where I had come. But even better, I was seeing where I was at that moment and comparing it to where I was going to. And that's a really great moment where you can look around and you just know that you're stepping into the next phase. You can feel it, you can see it. And it's just that feeling of knowing that, wow, I'm stepping into this right now. And it was glorious. And I looked around, I'm like, yeah, okay, I feel it. Like, I'm going to look back on this. And I was trying to look around the room and remember what everything looked like because I'm like, I'm not going to have this phase for much longer in a good way. And all this that I see now is going to be a memory. And sometimes when you are in that moment and you're looking around, you try to remember, try to put a photo because you know that this isn't going to last. And one day I'm going to look back on this as part of my story and be like, oh, as I was climbing and growing my business and career, it's just that moment of this morning, like, this isn't going to be it. This isn't the end all be all. So that was a really great moment. And it reminded me as an actor, one of my favorite parts of being an actor, and anyone that's worked with me knows this is true, one of my favorite parts about the whole process of producing a play is when we move into the space. It's load-in day. That is my favorite time of the whole process is load-in day. When you're going from the rehearsal room, wherever the rehearsal room is, or everything's condensed, everything is smaller, you do a lot of reading, you do a lot of focusing and analyzing and all sorts of character work. Oh, I want this lady to go past. I don't want to get in her way. You're doing a lot of character work and analysis. You're doing the work to get ready, the prep work. And then the time comes for you to actually move into the space where you're going to do said play. And it's magical. Usually, it depends on the production. Sometimes the set is already up. Sometimes it's not. Sometimes it's getting ready to appear, but it's still kind of blank. And it's that moment of all the work, all the prep, all the working out, the choreography and the lines and all that pre-work, and you're about to release it to the world. You're about to launch it. You're moving it into where it's going to grow, where people can see it. And that's just, it's full of excitement and magic and just awesomeness. Most people I'm going to be honest, most people I've met have been so frustrated with load-in day. Load-in day drives people crazy. Because you have done all this practice and you have done all this prep work and you're feeling good about it, and then you're moving into a new space. Even if it's a space you're familiar with, even though you know that's where you're planning on going to begin with, but you're moving into this new space, and so now you're going to have to tweak things. What you thought was going to work isn't going to work because the space differential, and suddenly people can't remember their lines because everything looks different, and people get really frustrated, and now we got these props to deal with. We didn't have this before. I know this is where we go up the stairs, but I can't make it in time to get to my next cue. Blah 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 blah. I'm sure other artists deal with this same thing, like when you're coming up with a concept of writing a song and then you actually put it on certain instruments and you bring in more orchestra. It's like, oh, it's not really sounding the way I wanted it to. Or when you're drawing and you start with your sketching and you have this vision of what it's going to look like, then you start adding layers. It's like, I don't know, it looks really busy. It's just not working for me. So putting all this stuff together, there is a stress to it, but also an excitement to it. So when I woke up this morning with that feeling of, wow, things are about to change, I don't know what they're going to change to. So that's the thing I want to tell you when it comes to moving and transitioning and moving into the vision of your life. It doesn't mean that you know exactly how you're going to get there. I do think that creative people tend to accept that a little bit better than other types of careers, because sometimes you start a project and you don't know where it's going. Like, I'm just going to start and see what happens. But you also trust your ability that when you get in your flow, whatever your flow is, you just focus on your flow and you know it's going to come out. Well, you don't know it's going to come out great. You assume it will, but you don't know that. But usually does, and you're happy with it and you can move on to the next project. So yeah, right now, it's in that glorious phase of moving into something bigger. You don't have to know exactly how you're going to get there. You don't have to be so rigid on how you're going to get there. You can have an idea. It's good to have a good concept of what you're going to do to get your career to the next step. Are you making money? Are you putting in active efforts? Are you doing things along that lines? Are you actually doing work? If you want people to notice your work, are you telling people about your work? That type of thing. It's like, if you want to win the lottery, you have to buy a lottery ticket. But you don't have to know point by point by point by point exactly how it's all going to unfold. There's no way. And if you do that, you tend to be greatly disappointed, and you also tend to miss out even bigger and better opportunities. I'm a firm believer that if we focus on what we're supposed to do in terms of staying in flow, which for those, staying in flow is when you're doing your thing and just that moment where all of your energy is focusing and everything feels loose and easy. If you're staying in flow and you know you're taking action and you're putting stuff out there, there's a certain level of just trusting and feeling it and saying, yes, okay, I am moving to the next phase and this is happening. And you really do feel it. You just look around and say, this is happening. So this is for all those people out there who are looking around at your creative pursuits and your projects and your lives and wondering, I've been doing this for so long. I don't know, I'm struggling, this is not the life I want. It does change. There is going to be a moment where you look around and you say, wow, this is totally different. This is 100% completely different. Sometimes it happens overnight, but if you're paying attention, you'll start to get so used to it, you'll change and shift so much, you'll start to know in that moment of, okay, something's happening. I feel it. Something is starting to happen. And it's nice. It's nice. It comes with transitioning and transforming many times over. So do the work, guys. Do the work. Stay in your flow. Do your projects. Get deep with yourself and your feelings and your psyche. Because honestly, if you really want the level of success where you're doing something creative, where you're doing your business creatively every day, and you're living a full life that you imagine and envision, to get there in the fastest way possible and to keep that success, get deep. Get deep with yourself. What's blocking you? What are the things that are holding you back? What are the limiting beliefs that you believe about yourself and your ability to make things happen? Confront them. What is that inner critic telling you every single day? Confront it. Don't just ignore it. Don't just try to squash it down. Don't ignore it. Don't just pretend it doesn't exist. I know it exists. I know it exists because if it didn't exist, you would be exactly where you want to be. You'd be looking at your whole life and be like, everything's perfect. Everything's just where I want it to be. Can you say that? If you're watching this, you probably can't 100% say that. So get deep. What are those things that are your limiting beliefs? What are those things that you tell yourself every day? Subconsciously, the stories that you're telling yourself that add to the things that are blocking you. And if you're not ready to face them, if you don't know how to face them, if you know they're there, but they're so buried, that they're so buried deep in your subconscious that you can't remember anymore, and every time you try to focus on it, it practically disappears, that's when you hire a coach. That's when you hire help. That's when you find someone like me to walk you through and say, like, let's really go through and make a safe place for you and exercises to really pull them out, to figure out what are these beliefs that you have in your mindset that are holding you back. Because if you believe that you can do it, once you have the technique down, you can learn your technique, but you have to trust and know that you can have it and you can do it. Because if every time you get a little further, you pull yourself backwards, then it's never going to happen. So yeah, get to the point where you embrace the transformation, you're embracing the change, you're embracing the moving from one area and phase to another. You can do it. It's wonderful. You get used to it, and it's wonderful and glorious. And get deep and take a pact with yourself that you are going to let things happen for you. You don't have to chase it. You don't have to fight it. You can just relax into letting transformation happen. And it's fabulous. It's fabulous. So those are my thoughts for today. Not even leaning into it, because even leading feels too aggressive. It's more the, okay, we're letting this happen. It's letting things come to you instead of constantly moving. So do the work, get deep with yourself, really look at realistically, truthfully, what stories are you holding inside of you? What are the things that you're holding on to? The blocks, the stories, the limiting beliefs, the challenging people that you're allowing to take your power every day. Look around your circle, the people that are taking up all of your time and energy and really just taking your power. Get deep with what is going on with you. The magic happens in here. The real magic in terms of making your amazing life happen, it's an inside job, you guys. It really is. It's an inside job. Gosh, I'm so nervous that I'm gonna die in the middle of the street. So I'm going to walk across the street. People driving through like, what's she doing? But to get to where you want to go, it's the technique. It's perfecting your skill set. Obviously, that's a big part of it. But that's not the only part. It's not enough. You got to get in this house. It's an inside job. You're going to start from what is holding up this beautiful temple that you have. What's going on inside there? Don't be afraid of it. It's all beautiful. Even the messy parts, especially the messy parts. Honor your journey, because you're not going to stay here. It's a continuous process. And if you think you're going to stay there, you're doing yourself a great disservice of growth. You weren't meant to be here to not grow. So wherever you're at right now, know that that's not going to define you. That's not the end of the story. So don't quit. Don't quit. That is not the end of the story. But also look forward and relax into letting the transformation happen. You don't have to fight it. You don't have to wrestle with it. You don't have to cry about it. Just start relaxing into it. And yeah, and then see what happens. Let the glorious journey go through. So hope that helped. I woke up, I'm like, all right, I'm gonna feel the need of just the right words will come. And if you have not signed up yet, there's still some spots available. If you have not signed up for my 8-week coaching course that we're starting in July, where I'm really going to get deep with more creatives and one-on-one side and get down deep with you so you can start to remove these blocks and let them go, then get on it, because we're going to close the doors soon. So come on, let's do this. So enjoy this amazing, this is one of those gorgeous days. It's not too hot. It's really sunny, but it's just lovely. It's just lovely. So I hope wherever you're at watching this, you are enjoying your time. And I hope if you're feeling discouraged, you know that this is only just one part of your whole story. And if you're in the middle of that transition, I hope you are allowing it, honoring it, and breathing through it to let it happen. Okay, everyone. Till next time, I'll talk to you soon. Bye.